Broadcasting live from Bark Channel Pathway on the plain of Kaldheim, this is Tap Tap Concede. Welcome everybody to Tap Tap Concede. I'm Graham. Joining me is Nelson.
Hey.
And Cameron.
Hey.
New year, new cards. It's 2021, literally today. We're recording on New Year's Day, and we're going to talk about some of the Kaldheim previews and a little bit of other stuff as well. Sort of a hodgepodge today because it's New Year's.
New year, new lure.
Yeah. But the same sponsor, as we remind you, that Tap Tap Concede is brought to you by Card Kingdom. Do please check out cardkingdom.com/LRR if you need to buy some magic cards, because the /LRR lets them know that we are sending you over there, and we're doing that because we think they're great. Legitimately. They're a bunch of good folks, and they do good work. And if you ask them, loading ready run sent me, button please, you'll get a little 1-inch button, which we are currently still on. Omnath was ejected, and that started being distributed on December 7th, so probably running out in the near future, I would think, but we'll see. And of course, this show and everything we do is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. So the last two episodes before we took our week off for Christmas break was sort of a 2020 year in review, and I asked on our Twitter if there was anything that we might have missed there, because there was one thing that was brought up that we didn't maybe go as deep on, and now I can't remember what it was.
On YouTube, some people asked us to talk about the price of Commander Collection Green, because we talked about the cards a little bit, but I think maybe in our episodes we were sort of assuming, or at least we were comparing it to the signature spell books, because it's kind of the same sort of product.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking now for the first time, and Face to Face is selling it for approximately the price of 7 spell books.
Excuse me?
I think so. I mean, or maybe only 5. Like, I thought the spell book was like $25 or something, and currently you can get Commander Collection Green non-foil for $136.
Holy moly.
That's on sale. They started at $160 for the non-foil, or $280 for the foil, or now it's down to $220. These are Canadian dollars, by the way, but that sort of helps us make the comparisons, because that's, where we live.
I just walked into our local game store, Yellow Jacket, and I bought the non-foil one for the like $30, $35 maybe that it was suggested.
Okay. Well, I mean, MSRP is gone. I don't know that there are suggested prices anymore, but certainly this means that, there is a discrepancy between what the retailers are charging. Now, this is a limited product, so there's kind of like this wink, nod that WotC, I think, has always been kind of trying to do. They can't come out and say they're doing it, but this is what From the Vault was sort of supposed to be, at least in the backdoor industry conversations or whatever, is we make 20 of these per store or something. And we did away with MSRP. One of the benefits of that is go ahead and charge whatever you want. You're only getting 20, or you're only getting 40, or you're only getting 60, whatever it is for your store. And you're how premium you are and whatnot, and maybe how much stuff you buy total. But part of the deal is WotC, knows that running an LGS is hard. And heads up, if you don't own an LGS, it's hard. So it's nice to have some things where it's okay, I spend $20 to buy this, and I'm allowed to sell it for $200. And maybe no one will bat an eye, or they will, but they'll also buy it for $200. So some owners like Ed at Yellow Jacket, shout outs to Ed. Sorry, no online store for you, but if you're in Victoria, please come to Yellow Jacket on Broughton Street. He'll just sell the things for a normal Keystone markup or whatever, where it's he buys it for $20 and he sells it for $35. Just like he would a board game or a booster pack or a comic book. So that was Graham's experience. He bought it for a very reasonable price and got, what would have been $100 at least worth of singles before the set came out. Possibly is just $60 worth of singles now, or I don't know.
Maybe it was higher than that. It was not I'm seeing it online for 99, between 90 and $100 US for the non-foil version, and I definitely did not pay that much.
Did you pay money at all though? Because your file card at Yellow Jacket has usually been pretty deep.
No, I have run out.
Oh, okay, good for you.
Yeah, no, I have used all my store credit, so I did actually buy it with Earth currency.
Regular human dollars.
Yeah, maybe I'm misremembering it, and it wasn't as cheap. Maybe it was more in the $50 range, but it was not as expensive as it's going for online. This is I mean, so we didn't talk about it because we didn't know.
Yeah, no, I got the impression that we just didn't know, and I commented back or replied to someone on YouTube about it. So that is a surprise. Hey, and thanks for making that comment, everybody who did. It's a bit of a disappointment, but the weird reality is, let's go through these cards one more time. What's the list on these cards? It's you get a Sylvan Library, you get a Freylease, you get a Command Tower, you get a Bane of Progress, you get a First Omnath, you get a Seaborn Muse, you get a Sol Ring, and you get a Worldly Tutor. So a year ago before this came out, if you walk into Yellow Jacket and you want all these cards, do you think I'm taking at least $80 from you, Canadian? Like the Sylvan Library is an interesting one. It's had a lot of prices, but this is black bordered and new art and kind of looks nice. So I don't know. I feel like the average value of 30 or Sylvan Library should be about $35 for that. And then Seedborn Muse, like it was it at one point banned in Commander? I feel like Seedborn Muse has had various prices. Maybe just got a reprint before this, but like before that reprint, it was up really high. I'm thinking of the 5-mana Seedborn Muse, or the blue-green one. Prophet of Crufix. That card was kind of expensive for a little while. Anyway, so Seedborn Muse is probably like $20. Worldly Tutor's got to be 10. This is a pretty Soul Ring, so it'll be more than 5. And then the others are easily another $20. So yeah, this is, in my opinion, like kind of overall, you look at the broad arcs of how Magic card prices like go up and down. Like what's the kind of play value, you can assign to a Magic card when you're not a dealer yourself. Like you don't bust your collection out every single day to make sure that you're always selling something as soon as it like lost 0.5% of value and it's starting to go down or whatever. You just have cards and you play like most people. I would say easily this box set is worth 80 to 100 Canadian dollars.
Well, now I feel very lucky.
Yeah, I mean, it's like no matter what the retailer's charging, if you need these cards and you don't have them, you're going to buy them. And even if you paid $160 for these cards, I don't know, like, did you need all 8 of them? You got to get them all at once. Like, do you like the art? Maybe they're worth more than the ones with the other art. I don't know. Yeah. On the other hand, it kind of sucks that some people only paid $50 and other people paid like $200. Like that's shitty and part of the world we live in, shopping at LGS's. Condolences.
Mm-hmm. Glad we got to sort of circle back to that, because I admittedly was completely ignorant about it, and not from a position of like, I don't need to worry about prices. Literally, I just hadn't looked. Because I didn't go looking to buy one online, so I had no idea what the price was. That's high, but yeah, all right.
Cameron, I'm guessing we both didn't look for opposite reasons. I'm guessing you just didn't want these cards.
Basically, yeah. I saw Spellbook Green, and I'm like, goodbye.
The blue one's going to be so much more expensive.
Oh, it's going to be brutal.
I doubt it. I'm hoping it doesn't get any more expensive than this, unless just like the price of cards in general goes up because of inflation. Like this is like if you're buying them from face to face, like, or other big retailers, whoever's charging $100 US, like that's a lot of money for 8 cards. And these are good ones. I'm not going to guess that the blue one's going to be better than this one. I find oftentimes if they pack a little box set like this full of really juicy stuff, then the next one is not as good, right? So I'm more worried about future Commander collections.
Fair enough. Somebody on Twitter did mention that we finally got Otters in Magic, which is true. We did talk a bit about companions over the course. I mean, we went deep on companions in a couple episodes earlier in the year. We did talk a bit about companions in the 2020 review.
Yeah, companions certainly like one of the most important things that happened this year. And it's pretty funny and ironic that like as soon as there was an Otter splashing into Magic, like gets banned in Commander ASAP. Yeah. It's just so funny, right? Like
the day it was previewed.
Hi, Lutri. By Lutri.
Like I got to imagine there was some part of Wizards of the Coast, like someone on R&D must have been like, okay, we need to make the Izzet one really easy to just shove in all of the Izzet Commander decks or Grixis or Jeskai or whatever, because those decks aren't good enough or something like that. There must have been some reason that they were like, let's make this one just like super easy to put in as your companion. Sorry, Lutri. I already own all the cards in Commander like Collection Green. I was just going to throw that out there too. That's the reason I didn't look at the price, because I knew that I wasn't going to buy one.
There was also a comment on the Twitter that we didn't talk about the shoes, and I had forgotten about the shoes.
The shoes.
Was that this year?
Yeah, the Jace shoes. Do you remember?
Oh yeah,
I remember the Jace shoes. I just thought it was longer ago.
Yeah, no, that was 2020. But I mean, 2020 was like 8 years long. So, but yeah, they made like a pair of fresh kicks that looked like sort of like if Jace was a shoe.
Yeah, they had this styling from his like cloak, with the same shade of blue and the white stripes, the white swirls. I thought they looked nice. They weren't for me, but I understand a lot of people appreciated them.
I definitely would have bought some if like I had heard about them before they sold out online, which was like the day they came out. Like I did hear about them the day you could buy shoes. I just was, some number of hours late. But yeah, I thought they looked great. Gavin Verhey posted pictures of his, I think, when they arrived.
I didn't realize this is not going to look good. I've put it up on the display. I didn't realize that they printed Jace's face on the insole.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So your heel is directly on top of Jace's face.
Ever wanted to step on Jace?
Just step right on him. Oh, that was so loud.
I'm sorry.
There are a lot of comments about finally stepping on Jace, or feeling weird about always stepping on Jace. It's like, well, you jack the guy's kicks, I guess. Like, this is kind of the least you could do.
You know what would be amazing is if, like, because that's like a part of the shoe that really wears down quickly, right? Like the top of the insole, right where you put your foot. So it'd be amazing if, like, as you just like walk around and sweat a bit, Jace's face fades away, and that's just like Liliana's face underneath. She's like, she's like raising him from the dead or something next year, maybe. Or just if it's like Jace's face, but he's like, all the flesh is coming off of his skull. Hey, welcome to our shoe podcast where we talk about what wizards should make for shoes. Garrick hiking boots coming 2022.
Makes an awful lot of sense, actually.
Right?
They do seem like a slam dunk.
Yeah.
Or just like Liliana's really tall boots that you could wear to a concert.
Oh my God.
I love it.
Like the ones that I got kicked in the head by when I went to see Nine Inch Nails.
But they've got like, some sort of stylized Liliana face, like near the heel or something, or on the bottom of the sole, but like between the heel and the ball of the foot, and they got like her cool lacy pattern all over, and like there's like her headdress is like on the calf or something. Oh yeah, I'm living for these boots. Can't wait. What else did Twitter ask for?
Well, there was one comment about the Commander Civil War, which I assume was seemingly endless. I don't know that this is unique to 2020 itself, but the back and forth between how competitive and or casual Commander should be or is, or, just sort of a disagreement between different sort of groups of people who play Commander, who want to play it the way that they want to play it, which is totally fine for people to play it different ways. But the sort of, I would say, bad actors between each camp wishing to impose their will upon the other in terms of how one can or should correctly play this game of Magic the Gathering. Nelson, you have some thoughts on this.
I do, yeah. So there's a couple things going on here. Like, one of them is how to find players of like equivalent competition level, right? So that you can hopefully get into what feels like a good and fair game. And then the other one is just like how to manage the ban list. Like, I know that Shivam has and always will, as long as everyone on the CAG, but Shivam's just like the most available and I think hangs out on Twitter the most. So like he's kind of the point of access for a lot of people. Is like, here's various thoughts all the time about what is and isn't fair, what should and should not be banned. And it's a weird kettle of fish. I know from years working behind the counter at an LGS that like everyone's idea of like what is the right power level for Commander, and or like what the numbers should mean, like what cards should go in a 5 or an 8 or whatever, and what shouldn't, varies wildly. And the nature of the word casual is like, it's also very fractious, and just like people have different ideas of what it means to play casual Magic. Is casual Magic where there's no prizes and no entry fee? Is casual Magic that you only play with your friends that you had before you started playing Magic? Is casual Magic where no one plays a combo, or no one plays a counter spell, or no one plays a land destruction spell? Like, all of these definitions are fine, and ultimately, none of them mean comfy sweater that's inappropriate for a job interview, which is what casual really means. If you're wearing casual attire, you can go into a clothing store and someone can give you a concrete answer about what is and isn't casual. When you come into a Magic card store and say, I want to build a casual Commander deck, every LGS clerk, like person running the tournaments in my shoes, is just like, well, what's your budget, and like how good are you at talking to people? They'll think it was a casual game if you were nice the whole time you played them, but like but I've got a Kiki Jiki right here, and I've got a Pistermate right here, and I can sell you this volcanic island. So that's my take anyway. I think the whole problem trying to arrange Commander games like at Command Fests and GPs is like really fraught and really challenging. And so I just like to focus on concrete aspects, like, are there prizes? If you get into a game with people you don't know and you've paid to get into it, you should expect that if the prizes are going to the winner, that everyone's just bringing like, all of their AK-47s and, instant combos and trying to kill you as fast as humanly possible. And they've all downloaded their decks from EDH Rec or Tapped Out or whatever, and tried to figure out what the winningest combo is right now. And you should just expect that, and you can still have fun. But yeah, if there's prizes on the line, probably you should think it's not competitive. And then when it's not, I just think, yeah, like if you're not playing for prizes, you need to know what you're playing for. And any reason that you're playing is fine, but sometimes you have to communicate it to the other players. And like, you know, if you really want to win, like you should probably be putting all the cards in your deck that do that. And if you really just want to get to, I don't know, bounce other people's stuff, like you probably will. Sorry, at this point, my understanding of what makes people tick really starts to slide, and I don't get it anymore. But I know that they're frustrated about it, so I think if they talk to each other more as the game begins, they'll probably do better. That's it. That's my whole rant. It wasn't 45 minutes. I'm sorry. I do know this thing about a horse though.
For context, before we started recording, Nelson said, you know, like, oh, I could probably talk for 45 minutes about that. And I was like, cool. Could you not talk for 45 minutes, but could you please talk about it? So that was the condensed version of, yeah, communication's important. So
yeah, set yourself up for success. Yeah.
I just think people need to not be so mad about it. I think there's no reason to be that angry about Magic cards. But that was also a theme of 2020. You want to look forward to 2021?
Oh, it would be a nice change of pace.
I would like to, yeah.
Or I don't know, yeah, if either of you have any like thoughts you want to share too about the whole competitive versus casual versus Commander Civil War.
Not really.
Fair enough.
I mean, I think you basically said it.
Yeah, like I just don't really think there are good definitions of those words, or at least commonly understood definitions of competitive and casual, because I've played some pretty nasty casual decks, or played against some pretty nasty casual decks. So I have no idea. Really?
Yeah, definitely the first time I can ever remember playing casual Magic at YJ, like someone came in with their deck they'd already built, and it's like 11 a.m. on a Thursday, so I'm just kind of sweeping, and like I can help anyone, or I can stop and play Magic cards if that's what the customer wants. And it was just straight up like, this deck has 4 Soul Rings, and I don't know how many other Mana Rocks, and just like a bunch of Eldrazi Titans. Like it's awesome. Casual 60 cards, just like a 60 card deck, no more than 4 of any one kind, like original rules, and like, you know, we're just playing for fun. And I'm like, cool, I am having fun. This is a fun game.
Amazing.
You win again. But yeah, I really like the comparison to clothing. I wanted to ask before we leave this topic, has there been any Civil War loading ready run like that? Have we had our own internal conflict about, like, because I remember when you guys first got into Magic, before I was even like part of the crew, I was selling you cards. You basically did a toolkit league. Like you started off with your cards you got for free at PAX, and then everyone was allowed to add 1 pack a week, right?
Yeah. That's how we originally started. We bought, I don't even know if we started with the toolkit, but we definitely had the initial thought of, yeah, we'll limit the number of cards so that it's all fair, right? Like we'll limit the number of packs that we can buy per week, you know, so it's all fair. But the problem is, you know, we were all adults with money, and we were like, but I just want to buy more cards. So that sort of fell apart, because like I don't think anyone involved like wanted to do that. Like everybody was like, yes, this is good. This is what we should do. We all accept that this is the thing that we should do. Does anybody want to? No? Okay.
I feel like the Civil War Commander maybe has something in common with that, where it's like, you know, people are trying to say like, okay, we're going to agree to like play competitive decks or casual decks or something in the middle, and we'll have a numbering system and it'll be fine. And then, you know, people go to build their decks or go to play, and it's like, well, maybe that's not what I wanted to do at all. Actually, I just want to win, or I just want to play a deck that makes everyone else's lives miserable and can't win.
You're right in that it's definitely just everything means different things to different people, right? Some people are like, well, I want to make a deck that's fun. And to me, doing these things that make other people very upset is what I find fun. And that's cool. I don't think that you're a monster for doing that. I don't know why these different camps are even disagreeing. Why can't they just be like, cool, we'll be over here?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really a astute point. And I think the quest for a lot of them is to try to figure out where their over here is, because they, you know, we all have our own geographic play groups, right? And then when we get to the command fests and to the Magic Fest, it's like, okay, we need to try and find our other people that actually are the best suited for us personally, not necessarily always playing with our friends. But that takes a bit of like guts and work. But yeah, we can all coexist. The 4 Soul Rings Ulamog Me on turn 3 deck can coexist, and so can the weird Turbo Fog deck or the Maze's End deck. Everyone has their game.
Yeah.
Cool. Now I feel like we're going to go into 2021 with, you know, just nothing but mission of peace and harmony for all Magic players.
So should we start with the God of Battle?
Of course.
So yeah, Kaldheim. There's been a limited number of previews out for Kaldheim. It's very sort of fantasy Norse inspired. And I say fantasy Norse because it's, obviously, Vikings did not actually have horns on their helmets in real life, but that's not what we're doing here. We're doing, fantasy Scandinavia. And yeah, it's looking pretty cool. They're definitely leaning into the heavy metal aspect more than I had expected, to the point that they actually had metal bands doing some of these card previews, which itself was a tempest in a teacup on Twitter for a day. But some of the actual cards are looking pretty sweet. So yeah, let's start with Halvar, God of Battle. I'm gonna, for the benefit of the video, the showcase version is going to be up on stream. The showcase frames are very cool, like filigreed wood.
Yeah, the knotwork, I guess.
Yeah, very, very cool.
Just living for this realm. Yeah, so excited we're finally here in mythical Norse land of magic.
Yeah, and Halvar, God of Battle, is so legendary creature god. So we have gods again. So we get to see that pantheon, and he's a god what turns into a sword. So we've only seen the one god, but I would suspect that it would be a cycle, one for each color, and that they turn into equipment, or at least they are modal cards, because Halvar here is a modal double face card that we just saw in Battle for Zendikar. So I guess they figured that would land pretty well. It's very rare that such a unique mechanic like the modal double face cards comes back so soon. Usually there's downtime between sets that have this where they can look at it and go, yes, that worked really well. Let's bring it back for this other thing. But this was like Zendikar Rising, Kaldheim.
Yeah, it'd be like if Infect was just like also in Innistrad.
Yeah. So Halvar, God of Battle, is 2 white for a 4/4. Creatures you control that are enchanted or equipped have double strike. So the auras or equipment theme in white. At the beginning of each combat, you may attach target aura or equipment attached to a creature you control to target creature you control. So you get to sort of move your equipment and stuff around. Or you can instead cast Halvar as Sword of the Realms for 1 and a white, which is an equipment. The equip is also 1 and a white. The equipped creature gets +2/+0 and vigilance, and whenever the equipped creature dies, return it to its owner's hand.
Seems powerful and flexible. My question, can I move around a pacifism that's on one of my creatures?
You may attach target aura or equipment attached to a creature you control.
Yes. You don't have to control the aura.
Yeah, it's not equipment you control. It's attached target or equipment attached to a creature you control.
Neat.
Also, I guess if you like mind control a creature and you have Halvar out, and then like that mind controlled creature has a sword, you can like move that sword onto someone else too, even if it's not your sword. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I feel like Sword of the Realms is like a fairly balanced card. I don't know if this is like super, like the flexibility is great, obviously, of having this cool 4/4 aura sword. I think for 2 mana and 2 to equip, the +2/0 vigilance and the dies trigger is probably fair. Super grindy. It's really neat seeing going. So in Zendikar, we have all the double face cards are lands on one side, right? If I'm remembering correctly.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So modal double face is like, for lands specifically, is kind of like taken directly out of the Hearthstone TCG, where in that game all of your lands are also a spell, and you can play them face down to be a land, or you can play them face up when you have enough lands to be a spell. So it like kind of beats the land flood or screw problems by giving you you always have some kind of gas. So like it's really cool to see Magic pick that up, and now it's because it's like it helps deal with one of the intrinsic problems that frustrates people and makes the game less fun sometimes. And now we're seeing modal double face as a way to answer like, well, what if I draw too many of my legendary creatures that I want to put in my deck, because I'm allowed to have 4 and they're really good, right? So this way, at least your second copy of Halvar that you draw, you can still cast and do something with. So I think that's really cool too. We've actually seen an ability like this before. Only once. There's a cycle of 5 cards from Future Sight that have Eminence. The most popular, I believe, is Corlash, Heir to Blackblade. And Eminence is it's an activated ability on all these legendary creatures that says if you have another copy of this in your hand, you can discard it for an effect, or maybe you have to pay some mana and discard it.
Yeah, Corlash is, so the ability is called Grandeur.
Oh, Grandeur, not Eminence. Sorry, Eminence is that other one that works in the command zone, right?
I think so, yes. But
sorry.
No, it's fine. So Corlash is 2 black for a star, power toughness equal to the swamps you control, 1 and a black, regenerate Corlash. And yeah, Grandeur is discard another card named Corlash search your library for up to 2 swamps, put them into play tapped, and then shuffle your library.
Right.
So that's cool. You can just do that whenever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fairly powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I like that you could have Halvar in play, and you could have the sword in play. You could have the sword equipped to Halvar. Why not? That's cool.
And flavorful, probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We also have Planeswalker. Kaya's back.
Can't kill her. She's a ghost, right?
I think so. No, she kills ghosts.
Okay.
She has she can be ghosty. Like she can turn herself, I guess, into a ghost, because there was Kaya's ghost form from War of the Spark. And I assume that's how she kills the ghosts, by going to the whatever plane of existence the ghosts exist on.
It's just called going ghost.
Okay. She ghosts you, and then you die. So Kaya the Inexorable, 3 white black for a 5 loyalty walker, +1, put a ghost form counter on up to 1 target non-token creature. It gains when this creature dies or is put into exile, return it to its owner's hand and create a 1/1 white flying spirit token.
Neat.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
Starts with 5 loyalty, so you can plus and immediately get to 6. When this dies or is exiled, return it to its hand and make a flyer. Okay.
So you do it to your creature, and then when they attack Kaya, you can chump block. Your creature goes back to your hand, and you get a 1/1.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. -3, exile target non-land permanent. So which one's that? Is that Vindicate?
No, Vindicate destroys. This is the other one.
Anguished Unmaking?
Yeah, Anguished Unmaking. Although that also costs 3 life, but yeah.
Because I was thinking of Unmake, but that's just exile target creature. So that's good, because you can -3 as soon as she lands, which is helpful. And then if you get her up to 7, -7, you get an emblem with, at the beginning of your upkeep, you may cast a legendary spell from your hand, from your graveyard, or from among cards you own in exile without paying its mana cost.
Huh.
So you can get Kaya to 7, minus her, and then on your next upkeep, you can just get her back for free.
Yeah, this card looks pretty good. I feel like the last time I saw, a black-white legendary card I liked this much, it was Obsidian Ghost Council.
Oh yeah.
This looks to be on the power level. Obviously different kind of card, like much more flexible. And possibly, I know, sorry everyone. Good in aristocrats. Like say you have Doom Traveler and then you +1 and then you have a sack outlet. You're like, well, that +1 counted for an extra 3 bodies.
Absolutely. Right? I was looking at this and thinking, do I run a second 5-drop now? Is this what I've become?
This card looks probably good enough for Canadian Highlander, I would guess.
Yeah, I think this could very comfortably sit at the top end of an aristocrat stack and feel good the entire time it's there.
Looking forward to learning that I'm wrong about that one.
Oh, yeah. I look forward to proving you wrong that this is good in aristocrats.
but definitely, honestly, does look powerful enough to try. So
yes, agreed. I will pick one of these up and sleeve it up and probably still lose. But I feel it has synergies. Also
looking forward to just the horrible trying to wade through the end game of that emblem in a standard match. Where it's okay, they only have Kaya. They don't have any other legendary creatures. We can do this. They're just getting free Kayas in return. It's only exiling one of my things every 3 turns. We can do this. And then they just draw any other creature. And you're like, now I have to kill that every turn as well.
I can fight my way through this emblem provided they don't cast any other spells this game.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I can beat this emblem still.
Did Kaya canonically kill the Ghost Council?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, that sounds right. I think she definitely kills King Brago.
That's true.
Yes. Yeah. And I do think she wasted the Ghost Council.
Okay.
Allowing Teysa to take over the Orzhov Syndicate.
Right. Okay. That's just kind of funny that you were like, oh, I haven't liked a black-white card this much since the Ghost Council. Well, it's her fault.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she took their power. Nice move, Kaya. They had their moment.
Yeah. We should mention, speaking of double-faced cards, that there's a cycle of lands. We talked about it, I believe, a little bit an episode or 2 back, because it's the rest of the pathways. We had 6 pathways in Zendikar, and now we have the other 4 in Kaldheim. So they are Bark Channel Pathway into Tide Channel Pathway, that's green and blue, Hengegate Pathway into Mistgate Pathway, that's white and blue, Blightstep Pathway into Sear Step pathway, that's black-red, and then Dark Boar pathway into Slither Boar pathway, which is black-green. And definitely the worst one of those to say this time around is going to be Slither Boar. Not as bad as Grim Climb.
Yeah, Grim Climb was really no fun to try to, like, get that one out.
Sear Step pathway is also not terrific, but, you know, here we are. And as I mentioned, the way that they're doing that secret lair that they announced is it's got all 10 of them, the pathways, but with the 6 Zendikar ones having Kaldheim art and the 4 Kaldheim ones having Zendikar art. So if you get that secret lair, then you can get a full 10 that are all on Zendikar and a full 10 that are all on Kaldheim, if you so desire.
Or if you just can't sleep until you do.
Yeah, exactly.
You like try to play Magic and your arms just start to like go all wobbly and wiggly.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was trying to do a visual joke there. Man, I can't wait to get back in the moon base.
Same.
Yeah.
So yeah, Simic, Azorius, Rakdos, and Golgari are the combinations here. I don't know if that's like, if this is, I don't know if this is the combinations people have been waiting for or what.
Well, at least you have the option now of playing them.
Yeah, man, this mostly affects Standard and then Historic and Pioneer a little bit maybe. But yeah, like Mana's already like feels pretty good in Standard, but this will probably open some stuff up. Hopefully this will make, more aggro decks viable in Standard. So that I always like to see that.
I noticed the art for these, every single one of them has somewhere in it a very tiny human trying to get around, which is certainly atypical to see some poor soul attempting to traverse these ridiculous locations.
Yeah, I definitely think the art for these lands is trying to give us the feeling that, like, Kaldheim is a big place.
Yeah.
With big stuff.
I get that impression, yeah. Well, we've already seen a couple giants spoiled, if we wanted to talk about giants.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to talk a little bit about this enchantment aura spoiled by wizards. Giants Grasps. 2 generic and 2 blue. So 4 mana for an aura. Enchant giant you control. I don't know if I've seen that aura restriction before. Or
that is new.
Yeah, aura caveats or whatever they're called. When Giant's Grasp enters the battlefield, gain control of target non-land permanent for as long as Giant's Grasp remains on the battlefield. So as long as you have a giant, you can, use this card to mind control a non-land permanent and for only 4 mana. So like this card's, it's interesting.
I will love him and hold him and call him George.
Yeah, it's like this card's pretty powerful as long as you have a giant. It's a weird restriction in terms of like the whole of Magic, but
I'm getting flashbacks to the first Modern Masters set. Giants never lose.
I definitely lost with giants a couple times. I'm glad you didn't. Other cool creature types, we have elves. There's a Canopy Tactician. For those of you who love to play elves, 3 generic and a green. For 4 mana that says other elves you control get +1/+1, and it taps for 3 green, just like Llanowar Tribe.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Does everything. I guess this is a bit like the inverse of, what was it, from like M11, M12, the Elf Lord?
The 2 mana 1/1, or...
The one that gave everything the Llanowar Elves ability. Turned all of your elves into dorks.
Oh,
but they all tapped for the number of elves you controlled, I feel. Or am I just making that up? Anyway, seems like a good card. Elves do this, right?
Exactly.
What should an Elf Lord do? I don't know, tap for mana and buff the team? Sure.
Yep. Perhaps the most straightforward one we've seen since the Archdruid, Elvish Archdruid, but 1 more mana. But a more solid body too, so that's cool. We also have angels.
Yeah, including an Angel Berserker.
Yeah.
Cleaving Reaper, 3 black for a 5/3 Angel Berserker with flying and trample and a double-ended axe. Pay 3 life, return Cleaving Reaper from your graveyard to your hand. Activate this ability only if you had an Angel or Berserker enter the battlefield under your control this turn.
I wonder if we'll see a reprint of Fallen Angel. The stats on this angel, this black angel, we don't tend to see a lot of just black angels. We usually see white as well if it's an angel that includes black. But, back in the day, Fallen Angel was a real card. One of the first sort of Aristocrats cards, really. Same mana cost, 5 mana for a 3/3, but you can sacrifice a creature. That's flying, and you can sacrifice a creature to give it, I think, +2 power and +1 toughness.
Yeah, +2/+1.
Yeah, so I wonder if they'll include that one at uncommon or something in the set. That'd be kind of neat.
I would love to see that reprint. That was a favorite card of mine.
Also, quick shout out to friend of the show, Victor Adame, who was at one of our pre-releases, who did the art here, because the art is confirmed by both parties. This is Nadine.
Oh, right. That's right. And this, sorry, there's a bunch of previews happening, but yeah, this is Nadine's preview, and it's a portrait of Nissa Cosplay, if you're not already following her on Twitter. Fantastic content creator and really good Magic player, actually. But yeah, I look forward to seeing, I'm going to guess that she's putting together this cosplay, or maybe has it already, but has to reveal it at the right time. I would guess, yeah.
I would assume.
If you're a cosplayer and a Magic artist is like, I'm using your face to put on a literal Magic card, you're sort of like, well, guess I have to. Where are my feathers?
Yeah. I guess I'm locked into this cosplay.
All right, Nadine, you heard it here first. If you weren't already planning it, we've decided that you have to cosplay Thieving Reaper.
Yeah.
This one doesn't look too hard to pull together.
I'm sure. Yeah, exactly. I have no idea where to start, obviously.
Oh my god, this is really intricate.
It's like it's just this weird, like, huge armor / we're like, what's on her legs? I don't know. Armor / robe / weird headpiece plus giant black wings and a double-bladed axe. The messed up thing is it's not actually the most complicated thing we've seen her bring to a Magic Fest.
Yeah. I do want to talk about these giants because we mentioned them. There's only been 2 spoiled. They are both rare. We have Surtland Flinger, 3 red for a 4/6 giant berserker, because we just saw a thing that mentioned berserkers as well. So that's obviously a subtype that's going to pop up a non-zero amount in the set. So Big Dumb Idiot, a 4/6 for 5 with one thing. What's it do? Whenever it attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, Surtland Flinger deals damage equal to the sacrificed creature's power to any target. If the sacrificed creature was a giant, the Flinger deals twice that damage instead.
Ah, the fastball special.
Yeah, so literally you just fling every time it attacks, but added bonus if it's a giant, you deal double that damage.
This card looks super fun. I like the design.
Yeah.
I like the 6 toughness.
You know what giant I would like to throw is the Surtland Elemental, because it's an 8/8, so you would hit for 16. Now it's very expensive though. It is 5 blue, but wait, there's more. As an additional cost, you have to either pay 2 extra,
so 9 mana, or reveal a giant card from your hand. So you either have to have held a giant, in which case you cast this for 7, or you cast it for 9. So it's an 8/8 that doesn't do anything when it enters the battlefield, but when it attacks, you can cast an instant or sorcery from your hand for free. You know, all those 10 and 15 and 20 mana instants and sorceries that you have just lying around after you got up to 7 mana for the Elementalist.
Let's be real. Is this thing ever living to attack?
I mean, probably. I just think you're not going to have a card in your hand to cast with it.
Yeah, like what do you get? What do you cast with this? I guess there's, a blue deck will figure out a way. I should probably look at this and go, yes, I am calculating in my mind now the possibilities. But also you've just swung with an 8/8.
Yeah.
Maybe the lightning bolt just feels good at that point.
This card just screams like weird mess of abilities put together for me.
Yeah.
I kept thinking about trying to put together that afflict red creature in some sort of deck that does the same thing. It's from Amonkhet or Hour of Devastation, 3 generic and 1 red for a 1/4 afflict 3, but then if it's not blocked, you get to cast a, or maybe when it deals damage to a player, you get to cast a spell for free from your hand. So 4 mana, okay, you can see you untap.
Are you talking about Neheb?
Not Neheb. Neheb is also a cool card, but Neheb's a bit more straightforward and just is kind of good. This is, some other member of the Eternal Warriors team that Bolas put together, one of the Lazotep afflict creature. It was the Buy a Box promo. I have just no memory at all what it was called.
Wildfire Eternal.
Yes, Wildfire Eternal.
3 and a red for a 1/4 zombie jackal cleric, afflict 4, and whenever it attacks and isn't blocked, you may cast an instant or sorcery from your hand without paying its mana cost.
There you go, afflict 4. That's kind of cool. So yeah, this is a neat card and lends itself to just casting big expensive spells, before they would normally come out. Whereas this giant, it's I don't know why you haven't already cast your big spells if you're attacking with your 7 to 9 drop. But it sure would be good next to that Surtland Flinger. Yeah. Also, you could attack with both of them and you would get the trigger even if you wanted to sacrifice the Elementalist. So that's cool. They are kind of best friends.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, before we finish talking about creature types, we mentioned there's elves.
Yes.
We mentioned there's giants. We talked a little bit about angels. There's also dwarves.
Yeah.
There's a pretty cool legendary creature that has a metal showcase frame as well. And the metal showcase frame is really metal. It's called Magda, Brazen Outlaw. 1 generic and a red for a 2/1 legendary dwarf. Other dwarves you control get +1 power. Whenever a dwarf you control becomes tapped, create a treasure token and sacrifice 5 treasures, search your library for an artifact or dragon card and put that on the battlefield, then shuffle your library. That's a fun card right there.
That is fun.
That seems wild.
Yeah. I really like this, different things that they've managed over the years to like have dragons related to artifacts, right? Like in Throne of Eldraine, this is a really neat card, Opportunistic Dragon, I think it's called. But it's like you get to take control of their human or artifact, and then you control it until this dragon dies, but it can't attack or block or use any abilities. So it's like you don't really have it. Like you could sacrifice it if you have an ability that's like sacrifice something because you do control it, but you don't get to use it otherwise. And neither does your opponent. Because the dragon just has it. The dragon's just taking it, and for what, but like the way they did that flavorfully is like giving it to the player under their control and not just exiling it the way that, Fiend Hunter has somebody. And there's also in Ravnica, there's a dragon where like you win the game if you have enough artifacts and you get to steal all their artifacts when you hit them with it. So I don't know. I love that they keep finding new unique ways for like dragons to hoard gold and that be a story. Kudos to that card.
And the last one that we should talk about, because we should talk about it, is the squirrel.
Okay, I have one more after the squirrel, but yes, let's talk about the squirrel. Creature types. Types. Talk about the squirrel.
Toski, Bearer of Secrets. 3 and a green for a 1/1 legendary squirrel. Can't be countered. Indestructible. Attacks each combat if able, and whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So it's just this little annoying thing. I don't know how it's supposed to get through. It's a 1/1 for 4, but it's a neat little bundle of things.
Honestly,
yeah,
I think this design is really cool.
Where you're just like, this thing is going to kill me. Like it won't do it by damage, but I can't deal with this thing. Or if you can't deal with it, then it's just like this very humiliating way to die, I feel.
So throughout the course of Magic, like, in the first set, among the people who could only afford, $20 to $100 worth of cards, Magic was about creatures. And that's like what Richard Garfield intended, basically, right? Like that's what we always say, or, that's the joke or whatever. But very soon Magic, like the powerful Magic, was about spells. And I feel like since 1994, R&D has been trying to head back towards like, no, make it about the creatures. And I don't think we've seen this design yet where it's like, okay, this is a threat, kind of, just barely, that matters. It draws the player card, so everyone cares about that. And it's answered better by like a 1-mana 1/2 creature, which isn't usually something you want to put in your deck. Like, yes, there was Deathrite Shaman, but like, whatever kind of weird card you're playing, the cheapest rate you can get on like a 2 toughness creature just holds this down. And that's, you're going to be, incentivized to play a card like that, like a bad creature, that it doesn't matter if it doesn't attack because its job is to sit there and block Toski, rather than like a Wrath of God, because this can't be countered and it's indestructible. So it's immune to most removal. And like, the mass removal is especially awkward because you usually have to spend your turn playing a board wipe and then you pass and like you get hit by haste things and this guy's didn't die. So not only are you getting hit a bit, then they draw a card. It's awkward. So I'm hoping that this just barely almost kind of matters in standard. I think that would be a big win for Magic R&D. If I'm way off and this card's amazing and incredible, then that's a little sad. Because if it's really, really good, it's uncounterable and indestructible. And so it's gonna be really annoying.
Yeah. What was the last one you wanted to talk about?
Okay, I just wanted to say, we do have elves and giants, and then like we have dwarves and angels and the squirrel and gods, and there was one more in there maybe. Yeah, angels we said. But we don't have Kithkin, we don't have merfolk, we don't have elementals, but we do have shapeshifters on this realm, and they even have changelings. So it's like weird kind of almost Return to Lorwyn feels. I know we just had like a bit of Return to Lorwyn in Commander Legends, but maybe the R&D team that was leading this one was like, no, we're going to be the secret Return to Lorwyn, because we've seen 2 cards with the changeling ability. Gladewalker Ritualist is an uncommon, 2 generic and a green for a 3/3 with changeling, and whenever another creature named Gladewalker Ritualist enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. So that's kind of a cool one. This is a little bit different than the same ability that's on that 1-mana blue fairy that's been in a couple core sets, where it's like when this enters the battlefield, if there's another one of these, you draw a card. This one's like if you play a second one and you have the first one down, you draw a card. But then if you find the third one, then you draw 2 cards. If they're both still on the field, right? So like this is a really strong collect me card for draft. They did make it an uncommon, so we shouldn't see too many decks with 8 Gladewalker Ritualists, but watch out. So kind of neat card, probably just for draft. And then Realm Walker Realmwalker, a rare, 2 generic and a green for a 2/3 shapeshifter with changeling. And as Realmwalker enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. You may look at the top card of your library anytime, and you may cast creature spells of the chosen type from the top of your library.
Always love these effects.
Yeah, so this is like a cool shapeshifter lore. This is kind of like a metallic mimic, right? Like any creature type deck, like, you know, any tribal deck that can cast it is probably interested in this. It's sort of like a Herald's Horn, you know, extra spells. You also maybe can like try to, you know, set your library up to go off with this card. There's probably some combos in there somewhere.
No, yeah, I think this is great. I love this effect in green and blue whenever it crops up, like the future sight effect.
Yeah, absolutely.
And being able to play from the top of your library, it just feels good. You can scry, you're doing stuff. It feels like you are doing powerful things when in fact you're probably, you know, there's probably better ways to spend your mana than scrying around to find something that you can play off the top. But I don't care, right? I love it. I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're having more fun when you're looking at the top of your library because it's more cards and it's more options. And that's why we're all playing this, is to hit ourselves with, you know, choice overload.
Oh, exactly. Right. Meanwhile, like a red deck is just raining blows down upon you. Well, you're like, oh, scry one? Nope, scry one.
Well, there are already still other cards from Kaldheim that we could discuss today, but that's been a heck of a podcast already, so I think we will leave it there. But please do come back next week, because it's 2021. We got more podcasting to do. Until then, a reminder that this show is brought to you by our good friends at Card Kingdom. Do check out cardkingdom.com/LRR for all of your card needs. And of course, this show and everything we do is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. So until next time, I've been Graham with Nelson.
Happy New Year.
And Cameron.
Also, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year's also to Jordan, who edits these, and Heather, who does podcast admin, and to all of you. So until next time, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.